Did you know it's possible to start feeling really bad for some time after you quit using nasty websites due to porn withdrawals? However, you should also know that if you do that, this withdrawal period is just a temporary phase. And when you get out of it, you'll start feeling stronger and better than ever. Scandinavian Bob here, hi. Yeah, a real voice and person behind this video who has been involved in the porn addiction community for more than a decade now. So if you're getting tired of all these fake AI videos out there, consider subscribing. But I'm not going to talk about myself now, as today we will take a look at what a few other guys have to say about when they got hit by the withdrawals and how it affected them. And these are normal guys just like you who gave up the porn, and their comments can also be found over at the site Your Brain on Porn. So let's begin. Guy number 1 says, quote, "Today marks my 7th day without porn and my 5th day without masturbation or orgasm. But I have never felt this bad before. I have no libido, no morning wood, no desire to do anything. It's worse than before. I'm getting scared. Is this normal?" Unquote. Yeah, so as you can see, he got the withdrawals already in the first week, which is pretty normal if you are trying to overcome a real addiction. But even if you're addicted, it can also be pretty normal for guys to feel somewhat good during the first week, and then the withdrawals hit really hard in the second week instead. But before we go into the later withdrawal guys, here's another guy who started feeling the withdrawals in the first week. Guy number 2. Quote, "Days 5 and 6, I would say these were the hardest days so far. Some minor, medium urges. The hardest part was not really an urge to look for new porn, but a feeling of something very satisfying is missing. A feeling of sadness and a feeling that I deprived myself of a very pleasant experience. And my general mood and speech seemed to be somewhat unbalanced. I wouldn't say out of balance, but shaky." Unquote. That one is interesting, as I remember having problems with my speech myself from my own withdrawal periods. It was like it was hard to find words and my speech did not flow smoothly, and I felt socially awkward. Here is another guy who started experiencing withdrawals a bit later on. Guy number 3. Rebooting is not linear. This journey has been extremely tumultuous. I felt awesome the first weeks. The next 2 to 3 weeks was a terrible flatline. I felt as bad as I had for years. Depressed, lifeless, anxious, irritable, tired, and so on. It literally felt exactly like a calm down from cocaine or Adderall, certainly all dopamine related. The key is not to get distressed or disillusioned by these flatlines. Unquote. Yeah, so this guy was having a terrible time of it. And here I want to point out that it is actually possible to have several flatlines during a reboot. And guy number 3 is a good example of that, as his quote continues a bit further down with the words, quote, "My last flatline came around day 70 when I thought I was over it. Nope. The good news is that after every flatline, I reached a new level of improvement. I came out stronger each time. Just think of the mood swings as a sign that real change is taking place inside your brain." Unquote. Yeah, guys, I really want you to take that in, because that is a great way to look at it. Look at the negative things you are feeling during your reboot as a sign that it's working, because it is working. There are changes going on inside your brain, and this time it's positive changes, even though it feels bad. Kind of like when you're working out. That can feel painful as well, but the positive effects will come later on. By the way, before we continue here, I would like to ask you to consider subscribing, because I will do a lot more videos like this in the near future, and I really think you will find them helpful. Guy number 4 says, quote, "My first step was recognizing that my withdrawal symptoms were actually caused by my addiction and were not my body and my mind telling me that PMO was healthy. Before I found out about the science behind porn addiction, I would try to quit, feel terrible, and then assume that porn must be healthy for me because I felt so bad when I cut it out. So just realizing that was huge for me." Unquote. Quote. Yes, that guy brings up a super important thing right there. A lot of guys become scared when the withdrawals hit, and that's no wonder. But then they automatically assume that what they are doing must be bad for them. And so they resort to their old porn watching habits, which of course is not the solution. The solution is to keep pushing until you get through to the other side, because it's there where you start feeling really good. Guy number 5 says, quote, I'm on day 28 now, but days 14 to 21 were the withdrawal days. Huge anxiety was my main one. Felt on edge all the time. It was horrible. I couldn't even drink my water at the gym without feeling like everyone was watching me. It was very strange. When I put my head back to drink, my body would go all shaky like I was about to have an anxiety attack. It was very uncomfortable. They seem to have subsided now, thankfully. Unquote. Yep, I have definitely experienced the shakes myself, but as you can see, he did get better quite rapidly. So again, the trick is to just keep pushing. Guy number 6 says, quote, I'm on day 42, longest streak without busting, and second longest without masturbation or PMO. I'll make the PMO record in a few days. Here's what's up. I can't feel good about anything. I'm worse socially than I ever was. I don't want to be social. When I have to socialize, I usually feel like a complete dumbass. It's embarrassing. It's goddamn horrible to live a normal life when you're going through withdrawals. I wonder what people must think of my shitty behavior these last few weeks. I'm not acting natural, and I'm just not fun right now. My mood changes at the drop of a hat, usually to a feeling of rage, an emotion which has never been a problem for me before. I have trouble falling asleep. I wake up too goddamn early, restless and unable to stop kicking my legs and thrashing around. And I feel like my head is in a dark cloud. I can't concentrate, I get confused, and I can't follow a book very easily. When I get home and lie down, exhausted, I feel like a giant hand is pressing down on me, physically keeping me from getting up. Unquote. Oh wow, talk about withdrawals. Yeah, so as you can see, all sorts of feelings can arise during the withdrawal period. That guy was still suffering big time on day 42, and a lot of people are. Some feel better already after 3 weeks, and some will still suffer in the second month, and even a bit longer than that. But you have to take it one day at a time, finding comfort in that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and before long you will start feeling better than ever. And speaking of rewiring, if you have a partner but still feel a bit shaky in the bedroom, I have made a short manhood guide that you can get for free by using the link under the video. It's just a really short PDF file with some tools and tips on how to get more vitality and, you know, a more solid manhood, if you know what I mean. And okay guys, take a look at the video you can see on the screen right here if you want to know how long it will take to fully heal after a porn addiction. This is Scandinavian Bob signing out for today. Consider subscribing for more, and as always, I wish you all the best on your journey to become a dopamine-focused warrior.